welcome, welcome. It's such a lovely day here at Woodford Square in Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. Happy World Steel Pan Day. It's August 11th and the place is packed. More people, I'm sure, to come in.
Thank you very much.
All celebrating this auspicious occasion. The United Nations has declared World Steel Pan Day. Now, you and I know we've been doing this thing a long time. We're in Pan Month. It's August. All month we celebrate the national instruments of Trinidad and Tobago. But this particular day has been relegated World Steel Pan Day. And if you see behind me, there's a stage set up. We're going to have some exceptional, awesome performances from some of the best steel bands here in Trinidad and Tobago. All around the perimeter, we have bands set up, All Stars, Renegades, Phase 2. They're going to be performing for you today. So as we go through the evening, we're about to start in a short while. Just stick with us. We're going to have a blast right here in Woodford Square, Trinidad and Tobago. It's World Steel Pan Day. You're locked on to WAC Radio 90.1 FM, WAC.tv. Tell your mommy, your granny, your auntie, your auntie, everybody lock on. All right? So that's it. We're going to start in a little bit, so just stick with us, okay? Happy World Steel Pan Day.
So the early beginnings of Pan really goes all the way back to the enslaved Africans who were brought to the islands in the 1700s by the French planters. And they brought with them their carnival tradition, and these slaves were using their drums to make music. After emancipation in 1834, the celebration of the freed slaves became noisier and louder. Now, the drums they used were what they called talking drums. And the British government at the time was afraid that they would use the talking drums to communicate to each other over distances.
The colonial masters felt that our ancestors were sending messages. They were afraid of our spirituality, and as such, they had to find a way to suppress the grassroots people.
They then banned the use of the drums, right? And that led to what we know as the Canbole riots, where, because of the fact they were told they can't do their processions, they can't have their carnival traditions.
Because through the drums, we are a very expressive people. And so even from those days, what did they do? They found the bamboos.
Banning the drums really fueled the freed slaves to continue with their cultural tradition, that is music.
They found the bamboos, and there is where the rhythm of a people, the soul of a people, came forward.
And created what we call the tambu bamboo bands. Bamboo tubes, different sizes, different lengths, varying pitch. When they hit it on the ground, it made a thumping sound, similar to the sounds that were made when they used the hand drums and communicated to each other through the drum language. So the tambu bamboo bands came on, became important, they became part of the history.
But then, again, the colonial masters, they were still afraid, and they banned the bamboo. But we had to find a way. Our people had to find a way. The ancestors found a way.
Because they couldn't use the bamboo tubes, we have the rise of what is called the metal pan bands. Now, metal pan bands would be anything that they found, the greater the dustbin covers and whatever, and they use that to continue making their music. And the metal pan bands really is what led to the precursor to the steel pan today.
And so the story is told of those resilient people who started to beat on old bins, old pans.
By beating and hitting the metal, the raised parts of the metal had a different pitch to the flat parts of the metal. Right, so we have the metal pan bands, which we'll find all the metallic containers they could find, plus your kitchen utensils, your bottle and spoon, and they would hit these with either their hands, their fists, or with pieces of stick. So they continue to create music because the culture, the tradition of being able to talk to each other through music.
And then one day, on an old drum where the sound changed after the surface was sunken in. And then it was another rhythm. And accidentally, the steel pan was bounced upon.
Spree Simon played what is called the first melody pan, which consisted of 14 notes. It was called a 14-note tenor pan, and it carried about 8 pitches. And it was the first pan that we were able to play an entire melody on one pan. And this occurred on March 5th in 1946. Right, and this is why Spree Simon is given that honor today of having created the first steel pan where a melody was played. The innovations now continued, and more with the establishment of the United States base in Trinidad really gave rise to allowing the experimentation and innovation to continue, because they had a lot of used drums of all different sizes, all different shapes. So our pioneers would now be able to take those drums from the dump, which was located on the foreshore, and use them now to do their experiments with creating a bigger pan, the different types of pan, like the dudup and the grandig and these things. So we had the American Army base being a way that really fueled now the continued innovation to the steel band movement. The first steel bands really appeared on the road in 1945. Carnival did not occur during the years of the war, but in celebration of VE Day, which is Victory in Europe, 1945, and then VJ Day, which is Victory in Japan, August 14, 1945, steel bands came out on the road to celebrate the end of the World Wars. And that showcased the advances that occurred in the instrument during the time when there was no activity, no carnival because of the war. And then the 1950s. 1951, TASPO, Trinidad All Percussion Steel Orchestra, went to the Festival of Britain and performed. Now, when they got there, remember they traveled by sea. These are steel pans. They weren't really, like today, chromed. So they got there and the pans were kind of rusty looking. So when they came out to perform, everybody wondered, what's going on here? Some old drum they come with and whatever. But imagine when they started to perform and hearing the kind of music coming out of these old, dirty-looking rubbish bins, rubbish pans, as some people would say. Really, that was the first introduction of the steel pan to the world.
My name is James Ronald Jack, better known as Papa Jack. Right? I was born at the corner of Lodge Place and St. Paul Street. From behind the bridge, St. Paul Street. I am going to be 69 years of age, right? And I could remember in those days, a pan player used to get $7 and $8 after Carnival. After playing for the whole season, you get $7 and $8. And in them days, I used to be pushing the pan. And pushing pan in them days was a big thing, because it had no float for the pan players to go on. On foot, the pan men had to walk to play the steel pan. You had the pan round your neck, the dodo round your neck, everything round your neck, right? Because in them days was pan round neck. I could remember seeing no woman playing pan in the early days. It's only men. The steel band movements, right, was managed to achieve sponsorship. And the sponsorship came from, in the early days, in the Raya days, as a youth man, I could remember Dr. Eric William went to the companies and them so that they can eliminate the violence among the steel bands. The government demand that some of the companies sponsor the bands, because he's a man that love culture too. He love culture. He was a spiritual man. Steel band used to play a very important role Christmas Eve night, Christmas Day. You see, you come out in your best. You call it your Sunday best then. And sometimes when the steel band passing, you had to look after your arm, because when the ban passed, the harm gone in.
In the 1960s, further innovations and experiments continued. The double tenor was introduced. The panorama competition, which is now showcased every year, 1963. Local orchestras started doing overseas performances. We had the creation of what is called the National Steel Orchestra, and they visited the United States in 1964 and the Commonwealth Arts Festival in 1965, and then Expo 67 in Canada, in Montreal. And then in that 60s, we also saw the debut of steel bands in Japan. Right? So you see now the innovations, the development, but now we are giving our gift to the world. In the 1970s, we could say that Pan reached the global stage. The expansion of the movement, now we had bands in Europe, in Africa, in Asia, in North America. So we saw this huge increase in participation outside. And our bands performing at the major music concert halls, Royal Albert Hall in London, Carnegie Hall, Apollo and Lincoln Theatres, Madison Square Garden, United Nations Building in New York, the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C. And we saw our bands traveling all over the world.
It has now reached the global stage where even the United Nations has accepted a resolution where now we have global recognition.
I now give the floor to His Excellency Randall Mitchell, Minister of Tourism, Culture and the Arts of Trinidad and Tobago, to introduce Draft Resolution A/77/L.84.
I have the distinct honor to introduce to this august assembly Draft Resolution A/77/L80 entitled World Steel Pan Day.
I should like to announce that since the submission of the draft resolution, and in addition to the delegations listed on the L document, the following countries have also become co-sponsors of A/77/L80. Argentina, Armenia, Austria, Bangladesh, Bolivia, Bulgaria, Cabo Verde, China, Cuba, Cyprus, Czechia, Estonia, Georgia, Germany, Grenada, Guatemala, Haiti, Iceland, India, Ireland, Jamaica, Japan, Kuwait, Kyrgyzstan, Latvia, Lebanon, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malaysia, Montenegro, Morocco, Myanmar, Namibia, Kingdom of the Netherlands, Nicaragua, Oman, Pakistan, Paraguay, Peru, Poland, Portugal, Republic of Moldova, Romania, Serbia, Sierra Leone, Slovenia, Thailand, Turkey, Tuvalu, United Arab Emirates, Zambia, Indonesia, Maldives, Algeria, Djibouti, Mexico, Mali, and Cameroon. Thank you, Mr. President.
May I take it that the Assembly decides to adopt Draft Resolution A/77/L80. It is so decided.
11th of August would be observed as World Steel Pan Day.
Today it was officially proclaimed and declared that on August the 11th, not just 2023, but August the 11th, every single year is going to be officially known as World Steel Pan Day. Yeah? So just so you understand the significance of this, You know, we always have, there's International Women's Day, and International Men's Day, and there's World AIDS Day, and that's celebrated and recognized all around the world. Well, similarly, every country in the world, as declared by the United Nations General Assembly today, will on August 11th, and it will permanently be on their calendar of significant international days and weeks moving forward, will be August the 11th, World Steel Pan Day.
Pan Trimbago expresses its heartfelt thanks and gratitude to all 84, hear the number, 84 member states who co-sponsored the resolution, thereby ensuring its successful vote and declaration today.
The ministry wishes to thank the government and the people of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, all stakeholders of the Steel Pan fraternity and member states for their invaluable support in making this dream a reality.
The steel pan come from a long way, and we need to cherish it. In respect to Pan Trimbago, I will say Dr. Rowley and the Minister of Culture and Tourism, Randall Mitchell, they are doing a fantastic job. The president that we have here presently right now, that woman, she is fantastic. That woman is a warrior. The old people say, behind every great success, there's a great woman. May God continue to give you long life.
I want to say thanks to those who went before us. Those great men and great women who would have worked extremely hard to produce what we now have as our national musical instrument. It's World Steel Pan Day on the 11th of August. Those two sticks represents peace and prosperity. That 8 represents the circle of love, two pans coming together. So world, it's happy Steel Pan Day to you. On this integral day, let us celebrate not just an instrument, but a cultural phenomenon that embodies the resilience, the diversity, and the spirit of our nation. May the steel pan continue to uplift and unite us for generations to come.